How's it going, guys? This is Cass DSP. Today we're gonna talk about who the actual GOATs are in WWE. And GOAT or GOAT obviously means greatest of all time. Defining greatness with absolute certainty is difficult, but when it comes to professional sports, the word great is tossed around often and rather loosely, to say the least. Um, while it's clear to spectators what good looks like, can anybody really recognize greatness? As far as WWE goes, the first person that comes to mind is Eddie Guerrero. He faced a lot of personal demons in his life, but heroically overcame all these demons in the darkest of times. When Eddie died of a heart attack, the wrestling world without a doubt lost one of the greatest wrestlers to ever live. He wrestled all around the world, showcasing talent from country to country, before finally winning the WWE Championship from Brock Lesnar in 2004. The journey was rough, but watching Eddie perform his signature shake while holding the title belt was truly an incredible moment. If you haven't done that or seen that, there's YouTube videos, it's on the network, it's everywhere. He was one of the most decorated wrestling careers of all time. And if you haven't watched Eddie before, firstly, where have you been? Secondly, get yourself on YouTube and check some out. You will definitely not be disappointed. And I really hate to admit the second one, but John Cena would be the second one. Again, I don't like it, but I mean, you can't doubt it. Love him or hate him, though, he's the man in WWE, 15-time champion, second only to Ric Flair in overall. He's been the driving force for WWE and wrestling in general for the past decade, and it appears as though he'll continue to be as the company moves forward. He's without a doubt one of the biggest merchandise sellers they've ever had, and he'll probably continue to be until he retires. Despite all of his critics, me included, that are trying to tell him otherwise, the criticism of him is vast, at least from a male demographic, yet week after week, there he is with his big smile ready to compete. Yeah, big smile ready to compete. Is John Cena the best technical wrestler? Not at all. Does he deserve recognition? I mean, not really. I respect what he does, but I just think the character's kind of stupid. Next, Chris Jericho, obviously. The wrestling business sure has been good to Chris Jericho, at least from a WWE standpoint. Jericho made his debut with the company in '99 after being mistreated by Eric Bischoff in WCW. What Bischoff failed to notice in Chris Jericho was true star power. Bischoff lost Jericho through a mist of stars, not realizing his true potential. That was later shown in WWE. He went on to be a multiple-time world champ. Now, in my eyes, and probably in most wrestling fans' eyes, really, that's a massive turnaround. The first ever undisputed champion and a master of his craft, Chris Jericho has been one of the best faces, along with being one of the best heels in WWE. The Y2J problem showed up in our living room over 15 years ago, and with everyone else, we welcomed his arrival. I really, really looked forward to him coming to WWE. And when that happened and he, interrupted The Rock, that was probably one of the best moments in wrestling history, I thought. Because that Millennium Clock was epic. Next, obviously, if you talk about greatest of all time, you have to include Edge. We were all disappointed to learn that Edge would be forced to retire early due to long-standing neck problems. Edge was an 11-time world champion at the time of his retirement, and he had been able to continue on with his career. He may have taken a run at Ric Flair's record as did John Cena. Edge broke onto the scene as a tag team wrestler, but eventually found his stride in singles competition, becoming a controversial and calculating character in the process. It is a true shame that the career of Edge was ended prematurely. He could have done a lot more with the length of his career, but he did have to leave, and we all understood that. Next, I thought, obviously, a little questionable, but the one thing that sort of throws you over the top with this guy is the fact that he's an actual Olympian. Of course, we're talking about Kurt Angle. You know, the one chant that if you watched wrestling at all in the 90s was knowing that when Kurt Angle came out, you know, they'd make a remix. They remixed his stuff, which is kind of made me think of what they've been doing with John Cena's lately. But there's still a lot of admiration for Kurt Angle, who is one of the most naturally gifted wrestlers in the world. Whether his gimmick was called for him to be a goofy, milk-drinking Vince McMahon brown noser or an unstoppable wrestler, Kurt Angle always delivered. He's one of the best pure athletes in WWE has ever seen, and maybe one of the best technical wrestlers WWE's ever seen. It's a shame he had to move away from WWE, and I would love to see him back there again. I would like to see him back. It's you know, for not necessarily a title run, but just to see him back there. Again, obviously, the next guy you have to include, anytime you include greatest of all time, it's Bruno Sammartino. I mean, he had a championship reign of 2,800 days. He was immensely popular during his wrestling career, having been loved by wrestling fans nationwide. Now, when I had researched this stuff, though, I'd never seen any of his matches. I couldn't even find a lot of them, to be completely honest with you. So I just went off what people were saying. But the one thing that I know is he may never lose his spot atop the mountain as the greatest WWE champion of all time, which, yeah, I still believe he is. Next, obviously, Shawn Michaels is one of the greatest. He's left a lasting legacy on WWE through current superstars and a legendary status he probably won't ever be able to obtain. Last on the list, we have obviously Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now we all know that WWE has that history of putting people over, but I don't think the WWE put Steve Austin over. I think Steve Austin put Steve Austin over. There have been plenty of great wrestlers who have came along and altered the state of the business, but nobody has changed the definition of the world, a definition of being a wrestler in the same manner that Stone Cold Steve Austin did. Who would have thought 10 years before Austin 316 the fans would enjoy a beer-drinking, foul-mouthed, rebellious wrestler? Stone Cold helped change the way we look at faces and heels, because when Stone Cold was in the business, there wasn't really faces and heels. It was just, you know, Austin did what he wanted when he wanted to. He helped change the way we look at him. He didn't pave any trails. He threw his boots, trampled through dirt and mud, stomping mud holes, taking out anybody who got in his way. He was also one hell of a wrestler. I mean, a really good wrestler. He showed commitment to the business after a life-threatening accident that nearly put him out of action. We all remember, you know, him getting paralyzed from, what was it, the neck down because of a pile driver. So it was something that you know, that I don't think if I was in the situation I would have come back to wrestling. But at the same time, you have to think about this too. He was, if anything, he was committed to the business. I mean, he loved the business, and I think that makes him, at least has to put him in the conversation of the greatest of all time. I think he's right up there as far as popularity as Bruno Sammartino was in the early years. But those are, I don't think I did like 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I did 8. So let me know who else you guys would put in the WWE history greatest of all time. I think Seth Rollins has a big. I think Rollins has a big chance to be that. You know, I mean, you don't see, there hasn't been really a chicken heel since. I mean, there's not been a bigger chicken heel than Seth Rollins. and he's doing great things. So I think Seth Rollins will be on there eventually. I know I definitely missed people like Flair, Macho Man, Hulk Hogan, but we can't mention his name. The Undertaker, definitely. The Rock, obviously. But we need to kind of quit with the CM Punk thing, because I mean he's a good wrestler, but he didn't. I mean, he definitely changed the business, but I don't think he's the greatest of all time. Even, I mean, he's close, obviously, but I wouldn't put him in the same, mantra as like Edge or Shawn Michaels. But it ended up good for everybody. So, anybody else that you guys can think of that would be on the GOAT list or the GOAT list, put it down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Like I said, if I forgot anybody, let me know in the comments. I named a couple at the end there. So, that'll be it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Keep calm and wrestle on.